Here, step into my office.
Okay.
Welcome to Loco Taco. Today is a very hard-hitting segment with none other than school board candidate Bailey Brookes. Bailey, are you ready for this?
I am so ready for it, James.
Because I can guarantee this may or may not be harder than anything you'd ever have to face as a school board member.
Oh, I've been preparing for this one.
What prompted this pursuit?
Well, being a mom of 2 little girls and always being involved in schools, and I was writing emails, going to board meetings, trying to connect with the board to figure out what was going on during the COVID pandemic. And I was feeling like I wasn't getting through to anybody, and I wasn't being listened to. And not being heard is a horrible feeling. So I struggled internally for like a year thinking, should I run for school board? Is this crazy? But then I realized if it was on my heart that much, then it meant that I should do it. And I should do it for my kids, the kids of my community. The community in general is very important to me. So I decided, what's the worst that's going to happen? Give it a try.
It's kind of like cold calling in real estate. I mean, the worst thing that can happen is you just end up in the same place you're already in.
That's right. At least you would have the answer. You knew, you tried, and that's how it is.
But whenever I read about other issues in our area, in our community, I kind of think to myself, like for instance, I get down a Mountain Express article about X, Y, and Z, and I kind of think to myself, I've concluded that there's got to be more to it than this. In politics and in public figure areas, what is presented is so important because in like 99 times out of 100 or more than that, that is the opinion that's going to get formulated.
Sure.
If there's more to anything, nobody is going to ask more questions than what's already been given to them. Mm-hmm. And that's so in that instance, you have to value those short pockets more often, I feel like, than not. Like, you don't get to have a phone call with everybody and explain an entire situation.
No, and even some things are explained. When I hear the same explanation over and over and nobody will like truly answer the question, then it just leaves me more curious as to why are they not answering my question.
Right.
And I dig deeper, and usually I can come to my own answer to the question I had asked. But I've noticed, especially in the news and things, it's repeated so similar that you're like, this is odd that everybody is saying the same thing.
Right.
Almost per word.
So what kind of things do you do to get more answers? If you're finding yourself on these dead ends, what resources are you finding that are helping you get past that?
Well, I've done extensive reading. I've read every single public comment in the last 3 years, all the school board meetings that have happened, any article that was ever published in reference to the school board or schools in our area in general. So, and stats and things like that. I've also spoken to families. Like, I feel like if I have concerns, I can't be the only parent that has this feeling.
Yeah.
So I talk to friends, I talk to groups, people I go to church with, people I work with, and everybody has a little bit of the same kind of feeling one way or the other, which tells me, okay, then this is a concern. I don't want families feeling this way. I want everybody to feel great taking their kid to school, not questioning what is their kid doing in there, and things like that. I also know families that took their kids completely out of the school system and homeschooled, and I'm like, well, that's great, but I also know not every family in our valley has the financial means to be able to be a one-income home. Yeah. Or go to a private school.
Well, and we know from enough reporting and other economic events that, I mean, unless you're meeting a certain threshold, you can't be a single income-producing family in this valley.
I mean, even being a 2-income is hard. Sometimes you need like 3 or 4 jobs.
Yep.
And I just want our public schools to not feel like, oh, it's the last choice. I want it to be the first choice.
Yeah.
I fully believe in public schools. Mm-hmm. You should have a great education without having to pay for it.
Well, we're already one of the best school systems in the state, never mind, regionally and nationally.
Sure.
But that isn't that doesn't open up the door for complacency or close the door on trying to improve things. And we're in a
Correct.
very, very critical moment in our society where things are not going to look even the way they do right now in 5 years.
No, it's a changing time for sure.
Yeah.
Everything about school is changing. How kids are taught. Maybe sitting in the desk all day is not the way to go. We have the whole online, all of that stuff. Homeschooling is more accessible. We have a ton of schools in our valley. We're a small valley, and we have 13 schools families can choose from. Families want their kids to go to a great school. The teachers and the school board want a great school. But for some reason, we seem to have this big divide. And I want to bridge that gap and go back to having trust with the families, trust with the board, and building that strong family community school partnership.
Washington as a whole doesn't like that.
No.
This is part of our chaos. I think they're intentionally creating to divide us.
Yes, well, the government believes that they know what's best for our children, and
No, they
parents do
don't.
not.
No, that's not true. I mean, what you're saying is correct.
It's
What
not
I'm
true that
saying,
they know that.
it's not true
Yeah,
that they know that.
no, they don't. And speaking on a national level, yeah, schools in Seattle or DC or New York are very different than schools here in Idaho. So we can't do this broad brush across the nation of what is best.
Absolutely.
Because there is no school that checks every single box. And therefore, that's why we got to work together to come up with the best solution we can have.
Well, and the fact that we have 13 different schools, I mean, a lot of those schools have different strengths.
Exactly.
It's kind of like Mexican food in our valley. All of them are great for different reasons.
Sure.
So when you when you get involved in a position like this, do you have to have gone to school yourself?
I would think so. I think you have to have an understanding of the school system to some degree.
What kind of prerequisites does a position like this have?
Well, there really isn't one per se, but I would hope you'd understand how the school works, understand what it means to be a school board trustee, um, and have some understanding of children. I think that's the problem right now is a lot of people on our board are great. They all have, CEOs or CFOs or great business people, finances. But there's nobody on the board that's really been working with the kids, understanding the development of children. And that's where I feel like I come in because I have a background of working with preschoolers, elementary kids, kids in hospital settings, kids with behavioral issues or autism. And that's the main reason why we should all be on the school board is for the kids. Well, I think any new perspective is good.
Yeah, sure.
And I feel like I might be more of the out of the box because, yes, I don't have extensive experience, doing big financial projects and overseeing large things.
But you don't have to worry about that. They've already approved all the big financial projects. That's already that's already happening.
But I come from being a mom, working with kids, being a community member, and just noticing some things that I want to work on in the school system. And if you can't get it done by asking for it, then what's left to do besides try to do it yourself?
Bailey, thank you so much for giving me the opportunity to ask you these questions today.
Well, thank you for giving me the opportunity to listen to you and answer them and be a part of the taco time. I appreciate that.
That was a really good answer. We do the intro at the end.
Oh, okay.
It's a little professional move I found out about recently. By recently, I mean
2 days ago?
Yeah. No. I was going to say like years ago, but
I've
never really had an opportunity to implement it till now.
Oh, okay.
I'm just glad the idea stuck around.